Welcome to Enigmacast, everybody. My name's Sasquatch Steve Taylor. I'm known as the one-eyed wonder on this channel. And I got my special guest here tonight, my twin brother, Sasquatch Stephen Taylor out of New Jersey. How you doing, Stephen?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Tragic eye injury over here, it's hard out here on these streets, brother. It's hard out here on these streets, man.
Trust, I'm well aware. Yes.
Got my shirt on here. I'm ready to push my brand.
You're looking good, Steve. I gotta say.
No, what it is, Steve, is that you got fans, right? And so when I lovingly call you the one-eyed wonder, people say you don't know what it's like to walk a day in his shoes. So I said, you know what? You know what, nerds? You know what I'm gonna do? I don't know how you rock like this, by the way. I can't stop squinting on my one eye. So I'm gonna do a solid 5 minutes of this episode like Steve.
I love that.
And after that, I think this eye patch is coming off, everybody. I even did my hair like you, Steve. I got the part to the side.
Look at this guy.
Right?
I'm impressed. This caught me off guard. And you hit it. People who are watching right now, I don't know. He kept this hidden for me when we were just getting rid of this. He had his head off screen the entire time. I never saw it until he just turned the camera on.
Tell him, bro. I wanted the surprise to be authentic, brother. Authentic.
It's beautiful.
Right?
I love it.
But I got a question for you. Serious question before we start here. All right.
Let's hear it.
Like when you get eye exams, do you get like half off or a discount or anything like that? Or like, is your insurance like, do you have to pay like half for the premium? I mean, like, how does that work, man? Are they is the man sticking it to you, making you pay full prices, man?
Full price, but only takes half the time. So.
Well, I love you, dog. You don't miss a beat, bro. You don't miss a beat. That's why I love it. Well, anyways, nerds, welcome to Enigmacast. It's really me. I'm not Steve. But I'm actually not Sasquatch Steve Taylor. Do you know who I am? Steve, introduce yourself, brother.
I am the actual Sasquatch Steve Taylor. You can catch me on Instagram at Sasquatch Steve Taylor. And hailing from my lovely state of New Jersey.
New Jersey, Steve. Quick question, brother. I had odds, 5-1 odds that you would have been probed by this moment in time. And so with those UFOs going on up there in your neck of the woods.
It's been intense. I have not gone out. I haven't seen them myself. They're actually more, I'm in northern Jersey. This seems to be happening more in central Jersey. But yeah, for those who don't know, for the past 3 or 4 weeks, every single night there have been drone sightings every night flying out all around. And they're not your little handheld drones that, you get at the store. These are full size, like government sized drones flying all over the state. And even just this morning, they're not telling us the full truth, but the feds have come out and said that they don't know what this is. They don't know where it's coming from. And they're asking for the public for help for any information. It's crazy. It's pretty wild.
I got to tell you something too, man. I made a video. It's dropping tomorrow about that, about one of the drone incidents somebody sent to me out of, I want to say Brunswick. I don't think, is there a Brunswick, New Jersey, bro?
There's a North Brunswick, East. There's a few of them, but yes. Okay. Yeah. And that's Central Jersey. That's one of the areas that it's happening.
The biggest drone I've ever seen. This thing is the size of an airplane. That's how big it is, right? It is massive, right? And I even said in the video, that is the biggest UAP drone I've ever seen, right? And I did hear some of the fidukery that's going on with it. I heard early as this morning that it was an Iranian mothership dropping off. I'm thinking did you hear that?
I heard that too, and that's apparently been, discredited, but again,
that is so stupid.
Who knows what is happening out there? Yeah.
Who knows, bro? Yeah. Man. So yeah. Well, anyways, bro. You know how rich we would be if you just get abducted, man? Do something, man. Get out there and rub some baby oil on you, man, or whatever, man.
Once we're done recording here, I'm gonna get in the car. I'm gonna head down south. We'll send.
Hey, bro, you know what else I was thinking too, man? This is because my mind works. This might shock some people that see this, but you've known me for quite a while. This is right up my alley. I thought if they took you, man, and they gave you like an eye, right? Like you got like a special eye, right? And that eye had like Wi-Fi. So when we're in the woods, we could just like connect to your eye, right? And then like have like signal, satellite signal in the woods, man. It would be awesome. So if you do get taken, man, and then if they hook you up, man, just let me know. Let me know if you get some powers or anything like that, right?
I'll make sure I ask for the Wi-Fi implant. Yes.
Wi-Fi implant, man, and like a ooh, bro. You ever watch Naruto? Maybe you can get like a Sharingan or something like that, right?
That would work.
That's a deep cut, nerds. Yeah, we're kind of nerdy here, everybody. So, anyways, one more question before we start. Steve, do I look like Nick Fury? Do I look like Nick Fury? No? Can I pull it off?
Yep. The patch, the complexion, everything. It looked just like him.
I gotta say, man, I used to think you were a big old dork for parting your hair, but I'm trying. I think I could pull this off, dog.
I think it looks good. I think it looks really good. I can
pull this off, man, instead of going with the faux hawk all the time. Anyways, nerds. So, anyways, listen, all you people who love to send me DMs on Instagram for some reason or whatever. How long have I known you, Steve? How long have I known you?
We're pushing 20 years here.
20 years I've known this dork, right? So if I want to make fun of his stupid eye, I'll poke the other one out. I will stab the other one out if you want to give me some trouble on it. I'll say what I want, whatever I want to this dude. You ever seen those Instagram or those TikToks saying send this to somebody with no explanation? It's always some dude. I send those to this guy. Like, here you go, nerd. Right? Yeah. Stupid. Anyway, so I'm gonna try to do this episode, Steve, as an homage to my boy Sasquatch Steve Taylor from New Jersey.
I'm honored.
If I can make it with this eye patch, I gotta learn to not squint. I don't know why I'm squinting. If I can make it with this eye patch, the whole episode, I'm gonna give myself some type of reward, maybe some Laffy Taffy or something like that. Anyways, let's get into it. All right, nerds. If you tuned up tonight thinking we were going to be serious, we are. If you know anything about this show, you know we can stay serious for about 3.73 seconds before, about 3 minutes and like 7 seconds. Do the math, give or take. We always bring you the facts, nerds. We always bring you the good stuff. We always bring you the heat. I had been sent a story a long time ago, and I'm not going to lie, I just was working on other things on the channel, and I just stashed it away. And here over the last week, I've been doing some house cleaning on the channel, pulling up things, replying to people, getting through these DMs, making myself, do the gardening is what I like to call it. And I came across this story, and this story, coincidentally, we didn't plan this, Steve. Where does the story take place, brother?
In our new favorite state of Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, dog. Like, we have seriously been sleeping on the terror that it must be to grow up in the state of Oklahoma. And
this is the third episode in a row that I've been on where our story comes from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's intense out there.
It's intense out there. And it's even more intense before we get into it. Because I like to be thorough and I like to bring the heat and I like to bring the receipts, man. I actually pulled up the county map of Oklahoma to see the counties, right? I was curious to where this incident took place. This incident took place, we're going to talk about it, everybody, is in this town called Lawford, Oklahoma. Or Lawton, I apologize. I'm squinting. Lawton, Oklahoma, right? And I was just curious because the last two episodes we did were in LaFleur County, right? And this county, or Lawton, is nowhere near actually LaFleur County. But do you know the name of this county that Lawton is in?
I don't think. No, I didn't look that part up.
It's in a county called Comanche, right? And do you know what Comanche means in Comanche language?
I don't.
Enemy forever. Go look it up, man. I did look up. So, and Comanche County is nowhere near LaFleur County. LaFleur County is on the far east. It butts up to whatever, I think Arkansas, whatever state touches Oklahoma there. And Comanche's on the far west side of it. So anyways, man, this gives me more reason to want to go down to Oklahoma and do some on-ground investigation when it's warmer and I figure out how I can get my guns through the airport, or if I have to drive or whatever. Because I have a concealed carry for Oklahoma, I'm licensed in 31 states. But I'm not going to these woods. I'm not strapped up, man. I'm not going in there with a can-do attitude, Steve, and a bottle of bear spray. It ain't happening. So, anyways, enough of that noise. All right, we're going to get into it.
That's right.
Tonight's episode took place, ladies and gentlemen, and Enigmites out there, in 1972 in a town called Lawton, Oklahoma, where one of the best and most documented werewolf encounters I have ever read or researched or found receipts for took place over a several-day period. I haven't seen a werewolf encounter reported like this since I read the one, I think it was in 1855 in the Black Forest in Austria, the very first werewolf encounter that I ever read about. I talked about on the show where the blacksmith had the belt. I think, were you on that cast, Steve?
No, that wasn't me.
Yeah. But this, and I'm going to tell you the reason why I'm currently labeling this the Bigfoot, or I'm the werewolf and not the dog man encounter that we were going that was going down here. I'll tell you that in a second. So let's get into it. You guys know how we do around here. We bring you the dates, we bring you the location, we bring you the story, and then we bring you fun facts along the way, and then we give you our opinion at the end, whether we think it's fiduciary or if it was, legit. And if this was legit, then I will say this was legit scary. This is legit scary. Every story we've covered in Oklahoma has been terrifying, bro. You know that?
Yeah. It's not like, we look at some of our other episodes like the Pukwudgies or the Duendes. I mean, those are like fun, fun folklore. Oklahoma's scary.
Oklahoma's scary, bro.
You might not make it out alive.
Yeah, Oklahoma's got me being okay with Pukwudgies, man, up there and freaking up there in Massachusetts, right? Like, I'm like, I could use a little bit of that, man. Like cannibalistic freaking Bigfoots, werewolves, this 60-year-old lady's getting murked in the woods for funsies, man. Nah. 7 foot tall freaking Choctaws, you know what I'm saying? Like this is some serious stuff. So let's get into it, Steve. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, I can tell you're really struggling here with this, huh?
I don't know, man. I'm gonna try to make this whole episode, man. But I don't know. I got to learn to relax, man. I got to learn to relax. All right. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, nerds. February 1971, Lawton, Oklahoma, in a county called Comanche County, which is on the western part of Oklahoma. There was a series of extremely unique, I would say, or disturbing sightings that happened in this local town of what all reports that I came across listed it as, and you can find these official police reports. I'll even give you the officer's name here so you can go look it up, of either they refer to it as the werewolf or the wolfman. And the exact date when this started was February 27th, 1971, Lawton, Oklahoma, Comanche County. And I'm going to give you the first incident that took place. The first incident was reported by a man named Donald Child, right? Donald Child was sitting in his house, minding his own business, doing his own, thing or whatever he was doing. And I'll put my cell phone on silent while I talk, apologize. Doing his own thing. And he reported seeing something that caught his eye from his window, his front window of his house, right? He reported seeing something out there that caught his eye that he found was unusual. Something was trying to drink water out of a fishing pond of some sort that he had in his front yard. Pond or a koi pond or something. It didn't really go into the details of the size of the pond, but again, that's irrelevant when you find out what happens here. He's looking out the window. He sees something trying to drink out of this pond. The pond waters are very low, so whatever it was unsuccessful. And then he noticed that it stood up, and he described it. What happened to stand up, his words, was a 6 foot to 6'2", 6'3" foot tall, black, disheveled werewolf. I'm used to saying dog man, so I had to actually think there for a second to say werewolf. Right? Werewolf, right? And it scared this man so much. Steve, he did what? Do you know?
He went into cardiac arrest.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I don't know. That's not funny. That should not make me laugh. I don't know if that's an uncomfortable response on my part or what.
I think it's okay to laugh because he survived.
He survived. He did not die, right? Yeah.
If he died, then it would feel bad about laughing. But he survived. We can laugh it off.
Yeah. Donald Child saw a werewolf in his front yard. He reported it being 20 feet away from the window where he was standing. The only thing between him and that werewolf was a plate of glass and opportunity. It scared him so bad, my man straight up stroked out and had a heart attack. That just, I can't believe it, man. And listen, this cat wasn't in his 70s or 80s. This dude was like 38. This guy was like 39 years old, right? And he stroked out. And I tell you what, right there, that gives credibility to the story for me, because that he actually, we've covered a lot of stuff around here, and it's always somebody's staring there in disbelief, or somebody's doing, something X, Y, and Z or whatever. But my man here straight up had a heart attack, right? Again, now you're laughing, right? He straight up had a heart attack, right?
That's the way you said it. It was funny.
He had a heart attack, right? And he described, there was also one more feature about this encounter that if it wasn't from Oklahoma, I'd say, yeah, that was unique. But this is just right on freaking time with the fiduciary that comes out of Oklahoma. He had on pants. This thing had on some Dickies, man. He had some work pants. He had some britches on, man. I don't know what it was. Like he said the werewolf was wearing these baggy, dirty, ripped up pants, right?
Yeah.
Blue jeans, right? So, yeah, Steve. And that's a first for us, bro. That's the first. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know. This is just how my mind works, man. I don't claim to, always be serious all the time. And I'm thinking, what is he? Is he 32, 32? Is he a 36? What was he, a 40? You know what I'm saying? Is he like, who sold him them pants? Like, where would you, like,
where they come from? What?
Steal this off of Vine? I don't even know, man. And again, like, and so if he's wearing clothes, I mean, like, are you self-conscious? Like, you don't want people to see you walking around, full Monty out there in the in your things. So, anyways, I don't know why that stuck in my head, man. I laughed that the poor guy had a heart attack, and then I can't get over the fact that the werewolf was wearing jeans, and it made it into the police report. Like, it was reported, it was in the police report. So yeah, so that's that, Enigmites. That's how that happened. Steve?
Yes, sir.
Would you have stroked out?
Well, I can't say for sure, but I've never encountered that before, so it's entirely possible. But it would definitely, if I saw that, if I'm looking at my window and I see, like you're saying, this tall, hairy beast wearing pants, drinking out of my front yard pond, and he gets up on two legs and wanders off, I think I'd definitely I'd be scared. That's for sure. I'm not sure if I'd have a heart attack, but
yeah, man. I mean, like, I always, you know how we do, man. We try to have empathy, man. We try to be empathetic, man. We try to put ourselves into the situation of what somebody was in. He saw something, right? Like he's definitely saw something outside his window, and we got a lot more stuff to go over, Enigmites, but yeah, man. Like, I would say that's probably okay, man. Like if you have that experience, if you like had like a small heart attack. Well, it gets a little bit worse for the guy, right? So anyways, they rush the guy. They rush my boy, Donald Child. He gets rushed to the emergency room, and he's in there in the emergency room. He survives. But my man is not leaving the hospital. He's not going back to that house, man. He's not dealing with this, man. He was in a perpetual state of terror, right? And so I'm assuming that he had to be heavily sedated, and I actually probably had to be calmed and kept down and was in there. I actually feel really bad for that, man. I feel bad for that, because where I thought having a heart attack was funny, man, living in a constant state of fear in the hospital room, I think, that's no bueno for sure, right?
Yeah,
so
it's gotta be rough.
That's gotta be rough, man. So anyways, So that was incident number 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Steve, anything to add to that before I move on to incident number 2?
No, I don't think so. I think you covered it.
All right. So werewolf, we're in a size 34. First incident. Second incident happened. Now I got conflicting reports when I looked about this. Some say several hours later. Some people said that evening, right, or whatever. Well, but within all this took place within like a 48-hour period. So I'm not going to really get stuck up on like the benchmarks. But this happened at night. The second incident involved, again, Enigmites. This guy called the cops. Cops came to his house. Ambulance came to his house. He made the police report. He told them what he saw, right? Later that night, a second incident was phoned in to the police department. A man was sitting in his living room or whatever, and he said he looked out the window and observed a massive creature sitting on the railing outside of his second floor apartment, right? Looking in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he said that once the creature noticed him, the creature reportedly leaped 17 feet to the ground, which makes sense, about, 2-story building, about 20 feet up or whatever, 17 feet to the ground, and broke off running. And this guy was not scared. He was more like, oh my gosh. And he ran after it a little bit, at least till the balcony, opened up the window and saw it okay on the ground. And it didn't phase it. And it broke out in high speed and ran on 2 feet and sometimes went down onto 4 feet or paws or whatever. Like this thing had hands and claws, right? And as it was running across, right? And that right there is another thing that I thought to myself was like, okay, but he doesn't say if it had britches on him. he doesn't if it had britches on or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say something here that he described. So anyway, so he makes a phone call to the police report. He makes a phone call to the police report. And Officer Harry Azel shows up to his house. Now I'm going to spell this guy's name because you can go on to the Oklahoma Comanche, archives and actually pull this police report up if you want. It's Officer Harry Azel, Azelle, police report, Lawton County, Oklahoma, Comanche County, February 27th, if you want to go and look at the details. Now, Harry Azel said that when he got to this man's apartment or his complex to talk to him, he said that this guy was all kinds of distraught, all kinds of upset, and had to be calmed down, but did not have to be taken to the hospital or anything like that. And that's when, like we like to say, things went up a notch in that area. Massive reports started pouring in after that, man, all across the evening and all the night. Some people were saying that it was running down the middle of the street. Some people say that it was bobbing in and out of oncoming traffic. But this was reported by no less than 20 people from what I saw, right? And it's hard to get an accurate count on like the totals on how many. More than one, less than 20. If 4 people saw it, that's still an amazing thing. But this was double-digit people that called this in and made this report, right? And I'll tell you what, man, that right there in itself would be enough, Steve. But you know what? There's a third incident.
Mm-hmm.
You know about this one? The boys.
I don't know. I knew the first two. I might know what you're talking about, but I won't spoil you. Go ahead.
All right. So the boys over at the soldiers stationed at a nearby base called Fort Steele were out and about. 15 of them to be precise, right? And this thing ran up on them and scared the you-know-what out of them. And I got to tell people some things, too. It's a common misconception that in the military that we're walking around armed all the time, like ready to kick in doors or do something. That's not even close to being the truth. Normally on a base, military bases, the guards at the front gate and whatever officers or guards are on duty at the time inside the base are the only ones ever armed. So like 99.8% of the rest of the base on a military base is not armed. And we cannot easily get to weapons. They're usually kept in the armory. I knew a couple guys stateside, never overseas, that kept their own, a couple personal weapons on them in their cars or place like that. But that was something that wasn't really supposed to be done, but they did it anyways. But anyway, but yeah, 3 incidents, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
One man went to the hospital, stroked out, had a nervous breakdown. One man didn't go. 15 other military soldiers saw it hands-on. Several other people saw it running up and down the streets. Bobbing and weaving, playing Frogger in traffic.
I saw that, yeah, that people were reporting that it was just kind of bounding through the streets, jumping in front of cars and spooking them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I also saw one thing that one person had mentioned that they didn't actually describe it, and this is kind of what throws things a little bit of a wrench, but not too much. They didn't really describe it as much as a wolf. They said it was more ape-like, almost had like a deformed face with more of an ape-like body. Yeah. But most reports did say it was werewolf-like or wolfman-like.
And I got to tell you something, man. That leads me to a theory.
Mm-hmm.
Right? A theory. We might as well dig into it right now. Some people reported it as, also when I was going through it, some people reported it as a Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. So what you had you had one guy saying it was a werewolf in pants. The guy, it was the guy that reported it to Harry Azel, said it looked more like you said, like a monkey, mm-hmm. right? And it jumped 17 feet, right? And other people were saying that that they were reporting it as there was a Bigfoot, right? One of these guys.
Yep.
I think it was all 3. And I will tell you my reasons why. I'm gonna tell you my reasons why. Let me give you the official description of how this thing was reported in this report, right? Mm-hmm. So again, the reports came in that it had a distorted face. The creature was described as being distorted, covered in hair, and appeared animalistic, yet had some human-like features, right? It was reported to be covered in thick hair or fur. Now that's a big difference if you're a nerd like us. Bigfoots are never reported to have fur. They're always reported to have hair. Some of the reports said it had hair. Others said it was definitely fur, right? Some accounts mentioned it appearing ill-fitting or tattered clothing. Some did not report the clothes at all, right? Specifically the pants. That's right. So it wasn't like he had on a sweater out there looking like a Scooby-Doo villain or running around. But like I said, but at the same time, some reported the pants. The people that reported it without the pants never mentioned pants at all. They just said it was just there. They never mentioned anything about the clothing. So when you take these police reports that were coming in and you spread them out, they're describing 3 different things, literally. And one of the witnesses several witnesses recalled some having an aura, right? Some said the eyes were glowing and reflecting light. Others didn't mention that at all, right? Mm-hmm. And again, werewolf eyes, dogman eyes, whatever you want to call it, man, have been reported to be glowing, but you never hear of Bigfoot eyes glowing or anything like that, right? I've never seen a Bigfoot eyes glowing, right? And the sizes reported across all of them varied, right? Some of them, but they all maintained that it was powerful, right? The thing was, whatever these things were very powerful, right? Very muscular, very agile, right? That were coming in, right? So that stayed consistent, right? So if we hadn't done our other 2 episodes about, the fiduciary that goes on in Oklahoma, right? That might have just been like, okay, there's a phenomenon where 5 people can witness an event in the same room, and all 5 of them separated will describe it differently, right? So, I mean, so that's not uncommon, right? But when I was doing my research on this, man, the difference in the reports of these creatures in the location that it was in, being Oklahoma, and one of the theories that I've been recently studying, make me lead to believe, bro, that this was actually 3 different let's call them cryptids, man. 3 different cryptids that were taking place at the same time.
I was just going to say, do you think that a wolf man and a Bigfoot are They teamed up to terrorize a town for a weekend.
No, but what I think happened was a werewolf got loose and a Bigfoot came to handle it. And I'll tell you why, man. I've been doing a lot of reading about this place called the Land O'Lakes down in Kentucky, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was supposedly a Bigfoot dogman war that took place down there. And I haven't really, I read so much, man. I haven't really been able to dig into it I want to say cut through the fat, you know, the embellishment, right? But like I haven't really had a chance to get into it, look at it. But I had Shay on my channel, and she's from Oklahoma, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was telling me a story about how she was hiking in the woods with her kids, and a Bigfoot-like creature prevented her from going into like a certain area of these woods, right? Mm-hmm. And I've also heard, oh my God, man, it was on the East Coast somewhere, not Michigan, of stories of Bigfoot sightings happening in, I can't remember the state, man, but it's somewhere northeast, right? It's northeast or east of Michigan. Bigfoot showing up real Bigfoot sightings showing up almost immediately after dogman sightings being reported, right? And if you go off the theory, and let's just brainstorm here, man. If we go off the theory that Bigfoots are not only physical but spiritual in nature, right? And they have the ability to portal, orb, you know, we talk about the orbs that are associated with them, right? People have described them as guardians of the forest or whatever. If dogmans, how do you say, what is dogman plural? Dogmen?
Dogmen, I guess. Yeah, I guess so.
Again, man, are we selling the ladies short, the dog women, right? So,
yeah. So
the dog men and women, right? Mm-hmm. If they're considered to be malevolent creatures, which I've never heard anybody say that dogman was chill. I've never met anybody say that dogman was chill, man, ever, right? Yeah. But outside of Oklahoma, I've never heard of a Bigfoot eating anybody either, right? So just play along, man. Let's just chop it up here. Mm-hmm. Bigfoots are malevolent, dogmen malevolent, man. They're evil. And if they're guardians of the forest, I actually think, man, that this dogman or whatever got loose, and this Bigfoot showed up to get it out of the town and keep the people safe, and or the monkey, whatever it is, man, whatever went down, man. I don't have any logic or reason behind that to feel that way one way or the other than that, just like based on the conversations we've had on this channel and the research we've done. Because you got to admit, Stephen, we've been exposed to a lot of fiduciary since we've got into this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why, man. So I just think that, like, yeah, man, I think that there were three different things going on. And I think people were actually seeing a Bigfoot, and I think people saw, I mean, at a minimum, someone saw something, right? I mean, like a bear got loose with somebody's Levi's on. Who knows, man? But they saw something, right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the reason why they saw something as well here. But I think, man, I think they saw three different things, and I think that the Squatch Patrol showed up, man, to handle this thing or get it back, right? So, anyways, what do you think? No?
I think, I mean, it makes sense, like you're saying. We've heard, like you just said, anytime you hear about dog men or dog women, it's trouble. There's trouble happening. And Bigfoot, aside from the couple stories that we've recently covered in Oklahoma, right, the Bigfoot seem to be, they're there, but they're kind of, you know, they keep their distance. You know, you never hear of a Bigfoot, you know, like you almost said, like protectors of the forest, things like that. And if we're in this kind of, not remote area of Oklahoma, but it's kind of like, you know, it's not a big city. It's just a small town.
Yeah.
It would not be out of the realm of possibility that Bigfoot's watching the area nearby. Dogman gets loose. Bigfoot comes to clear out the area.
Yeah. I mean, if we're in this rabbit hole, man, let's just get in the rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? Like if we're talking about, you know, Sparky wearing some, you know, some baggy jeans, man. Let's talk about it. So yeah, man, and I thought I thought to myself, man, I don't know why I have that thought, man. It just came to me, man. But anyway, but another thing too, unlike some of the other stories, I've been working on a couple other projects. I didn't have a chance to go and dig through the newspaper article archives in the town of Lawton, right? But however, it was reported in the news, and we've done several stories here, and it caused the town to go into a frenzy. Now we've covered stories here, Steve, about how that happened before. Back in the day, man, they were much more open about like reporting this stuff and talking about this stuff, right? And so like, watch your kids, everybody in, lock your doors and close your blinds, lock the doors at night, right? Call if you see anything suspicious, right?
Yep.
So this was heavily reported, man. It made the rounds. It was in the news, and that lends it to me more credibility. But again, something happened. Something scared the town, man. That's what I was. Right. Remember, like when we were talking when the Jersey Devil, when your boy was cutting loose in Jersey.
Hysteria, yep. Mm-hmm.
Bro, what if those UAPs lands and a Jersey Devil gets out, man? Bro, that just came to me, man. Bro,
I'd be happy.
Right?
I'd be happy.
Yeah, for sure, right? Yeah. So in Jersey, at the same time, Steve and I did a story. His debut on the show where they called in professional hunters. They set curfews. They closed schools. I mean, they back then they took this stuff like way serious, right? Like, that's good. And here's another thing that came in, Steve, that shows how serious it is. Mm-hmm. For 48 hours after this was reported, the U.S. military, led by or in command by, I'm going to get his name, Major Clarence Hill, the U.S. military base, I don't know if it's still there or not, but it was Fort Sill, right? They armed soldiers. They put 48 cops into the field. Every cop that was in the town was on duty, and the soldiers were out there. And they had shoot on sight orders to kill or, to bring down, I'm going to quote what the orders actually say, the Wolfman that was given. And so again, the U.S. military arming itself up, going out into the field in a local population, that is a big deal. That is not something that's you've never seen it, as a matter of fact.
That doesn't happen.
This doesn't happen, yeah. So if this went down, that's how serious they were taken. And again, 15 soldiers said they saw it, right? Mm-hmm. And man, that is another reason why freaking Oklahoma's not for the weak, man. I got to put it up there, man. I've got to say it, man. Oklahoma is not for the weak. So you people I used to think people in Oklahoma were lazy, man. I don't know why. I would just think they were lazy, right? I've never been to Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. I don't know anything about it, but in my stupid mind, I thought, man, you're from Oklahoma. You must be lazy. I apologize from the bottom of my heart and said, you know what? You guys are my heroes, man. Like, you Oklahoma people, you guys are built different, dog.
Yeah, before 1 month ago, I had absolutely zero opinions about the state of Oklahoma. Yeah. But these past couple weeks have certainly changed my mind about things. Yeah, man. I'm just saying, And like you just said before, right? The past two shows that we did, they were out in LaFleur County, right?
Yeah.
But this one's out in
Comanche.
So this isn't localized to one little section. We're talking statewide now at this point.
Bro, go look at that map. Not even close. Like it's like you wouldn't go to Comanche County from LaFleur County unless you were going to LaFleur County. Like you would never, like these guys would never even touch, man. Yeah. Like, I was shocked at the amount of distance between Comanche County, man, and LaFleur County. I really was. I would have laid money, dollars to pesos, man, that this would have been right in the middle
of a localized event. But no, this County, is statewide.
It's cutting up, dog. But all of Oklahoma, man, is like, what do y'all got going on down there, man? Like, wow. So yeah, people from Oklahoma, I salute you, man. Good on you, man. Wow, that's impressive. And it ain't over. there's one more thing in here that went down. Well, anyway, so let me tell you how this ends, right? So, like most things in life, we always talk about how the truth is stranger than fiction. It just stopped. They never got him. They never found him. There was no more sightings to this day. I did a quick little look. No more werewolf sightings or Bigfoot sightings down there or anything like that. It just quit. It was just gone. It was a flurry for about 48 to 72 hours, and at least with no reported conclusion. Now, I mean, the military could have bagged it, or who knows, or whatever, man. I don't know how that would go down, but still. Did you find any closure on this?
Nope. Yeah. Same thing. And the last thing I heard was, like you had mentioned, that military order of be on the lookout for the Wolfman, and that was the last I saw any reports, anything about it. So.
Yeah, and that was it, man. And so that was the end of the. No, my eye just relaxed. You see it open? Yeah, okay.
Oh, man.
That was a real eye opener. So, anyways, so yeah. Oh, I had a pirate joke too, Steve. I got a pirate joke for you.
Let's hear it.
What's a pirate's favorite letter?
What is it, Joe?
No, come on. You got to say it. What's a pirate's favorite letter?
You want the? All right, I'm going to say R.
You would think, but it's really the C. That joke's for the win, bro. And I bet you I could pick chicks up in a bar with that. I bet you I could pick a hot chick up in a bar with that joke, man. I'm telling you right now. We'll put that to the test one day too, Steve.
We'll do an Instagram live and see what happens.
Oh, for sure. I'm telling you, man, for sure. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
The C.
That's good. I haven't heard that one before.
It only works with the eye patch, though. The C. If I didn't do it with the eye patch on that, they think I would be just being creepy or something. So, anyways.
Oh my God.
So yeah. So now that I can see out of my eye again here. Anyways. Mm-hmm. So this story in Oklahoma came up, not in Comanche County, but one county over. Except I got conflicting reports about where the county was at, man. And you probably heard this. I don't know if you heard this story as well about the hunter and the deer blind. Did you hear about that?
Yes. Yeah.
So you want to break that down?
Is this the one we're talking about? This happened back in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Yeah, a man who only goes by the name of Clark because he doesn't really want his identity revealed. He kind of kept this very secret for a long time. From what I saw, and I didn't get a location on this either, so I'm not sure where it was. But
so yeah, I'll add that. So the location was not in Comanche County, but one county over. And the story came up at a local fair. However, it did not specify what county. And Comanche has like four counties over. So when it said one county over, I couldn't. So I didn't feel like it could be one of these five. So anyway, it was a county that touches Comanche County, noobs. Right. So that's where it went down. Right. So go ahead, continue, please, sir.
All right. Yes, sir. Okay. So one evening in early 1980s, didn't specify a year, this man named who goes by Clark, he was out. He was an avid hunter. He lived in a property with lots of woods surrounding him. One evening, as usual, he went out to a spot where he had a deer stand about a mile away from his house. He goes out. He gets out there. The sun's setting. He sets up shop in his deer stand. It's enclosed, but there's little peephole that he can see through it. And he's there and he's waiting, as usual, waiting for something to come along. And he hears something. He hears something rustling through the trees, through the brush around him, which is normal. You expect that when you go out hunting. But what he says was this: whatever it was big, it was loud. It wasn't trying to conceal itself in any way. And there was an opening, a big, fairly large opening in front of where his deer stand was, so he could see anything that came through. And out of the trees comes flying this large beast of a monster, similar to again what you would call a wolf man. He claimed, he said that it was, quote, part man, part wolf, and stood at least 8 feet tall.
Wow.
Which he didn't mention anything about pants, but He did mention that it was a wolf man of some sort, and he claimed that it had large chest, large arms, could tell it was muscular, and it had this unkempt fur, right? And another thing he noticed too was that it had human-like hands. That they had claws on them, but it human-like hands. In my notes here, Clark says that as he was looking at the little peephole in the stand, he looked towards the beast, and the beast looked towards him. And Clark claims that he then urinated on himself.
See, I would have laughed at that, but now I know why you laughed. I would have laughed at that. Man, like I said, man, what's worse, laughing at a guy who pees himself, scares him to pee, or has a heart attack, man? I don't know, man.
But here's when I heard that, here was my thought, right? He didn't need to say that part.
Yeah.
It adds nothing to the story. So all I'm thinking is this guy's got some sort of weird embarrassment kink where, he's oops, yeah, I pissed myself, and he kind of gets off on that. Because it adds nothing to the story.
I'm leaving that out. If I'm being honest, man, I'm leaving that out myself, man. I'm like, man, I was scared. All right, I was scared.
Yeah,
I was scared.
Right? But he made a note to report that he urinated on himself. So anyway,
I'll tell you a side note. You ever play hide and go seek when you were a kid?
Of course. Yeah.
Right. So man, like I don't know why, man. Every time when I would play hide and go seek, man, and if I had to go hide, I would have to pee. I don't know why, man. Like I was way too invested, man, in hide and go seek, bro. And I was like, oh man, I would get so nervous, man. But then also too, man, at the same time, man, I thought I'd have to deal with quicksand a lot more growing up when I became an adult as well. But yeah.
That's funny. I've seen that online too. Yeah. It's like, when I was a kid, I was made to think that quicksand would be a much bigger part of my life.
Exactly, yeah. And so, yeah, man. So when I would be hiding in the woods, or I'd be hiding somewhere, I'm scared to death, right? Like, I don't want to fall in quicksand. I don't want to do that. Every show you ever saw, man, was like somebody in quicksand, man.
Got stuck in quicksand somewhere. Yeah,
doesn't make any sense. All right, please continue, sir.
Anyway,
please continue.
I'll continue. So anyway, so the beast looks up at Clark. Clark urinates on himself, and then he says, he says that as if the beast knew he was in there, he smirked and then continued on his way. Almost to make a note like, yeah, I know you're there. I can sense you're there. But he kept going. And so Clark, obviously very scared. He's thinking to himself, I got to get the hell out of here. But he waits. He waits about 15, 20 minutes to make sure, the coast is clear. He gets out of there and he starts going towards his home. Now, one thing he noted was that this creature fled in the same direction that he had to go to get home. So he was very nervous at this point. Right? So he's going, he makes his way into the woods, and he's barely a few feet into his journey, right? And he hears something. And so he doesn't stop. He just he's thinking, I got to get out of here. So he's going. And not only does he hears this same sound of this large creature in the woods, but he claims to have heard multiple, as if there was more than one, and as if they were stalking him, because they didn't make themselves seen, they didn't show themselves in any way, they didn't come after him, but he could hear them following him.
That's scary.
Yeah. You already know one of them's out there, and all of a sudden you got two, three.
Sure. Like now, when we went and got his boys, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
right.
What's up with that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going, he's heading home, and he's being chased by this. And he said, luckily, they never made themselves seen.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost as if they were just, again, they were toying with him. But he's almost home. He's passing over this creek that he has to go over to get back to his property. And he says, along the path near this creek, he saw a dead deer. But it wasn't that it was dead. It wasn't that it was eaten by some sort of creature or like a bear or something like that. He says that it looked as if it had been ripped in half. Like it was just the full top, just half of a deer laying in the path, as if something had torn it apart. But also, it wasn't there 2 hours earlier when he made his way out into the woods.
Yeah, right.
So
he came in that way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was that. So it obviously freaked out, but he's not taking any time to investigate. So he just kept booking it all the way home. And that's about the end of that story that I have. I'm not sure how much, if you've got anything else on that.
No, that's the same. That's the same rundown I got, man. When I mean, like, it's spread out into too much speculation for me to take it serious, man. Again, he didn't give his real name, Clark. Didn't give the county, connecting county, and then it was like some people said, like, oh, he never went in the woods again. Well, how do you know that? I mean, now. The meat of it is what you just gave down. And I mean, you found more detail about the guy peeing himself than you did where he lived and what county he was in, or I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that, but like that was like you gave way more detail on that than it was actually about how the event went down, or whatever. But I will say this though, that story in itself does not have the same amount of receipts as the ones that was with the town in the 1972 one. I'm a little bit less inclined to believe that one. Whereas I am a little bit more. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. It's, like you said, it's just a one-off. There's no witnesses. There's no anything else. There's a guy telling a story, which, hey, maybe he saw something, that's cool. We always say that's entirely possible, but
we're not those guys to like, like we're not gonna like, what is sure, man, you saw something, or I mean, like you said, you just want to tell people you weed on yourself or whatever, man. Like that's this judgment free zone around here, son. Right? You're talking to two guys who who don't have eyes, right? I'm saying, like, right? So yeah, like it's a judgment free zone around here, friend. Together, he and I, we passed the driver's license test. The driver's license test, right? Cover your right eye, lady. Are you serious right now? Are you serious, right? So, anyways.
Oh my God.
But I will say though, his story is the story of the dog man and the pack. That's not the first time I've heard something like that in nature, right? And I mean, that's not the first time I've heard that detail in Dogman encounter stories, where one was seen, but they could tell that they were 2 or 3 on on the other side, right? But again, and then when I try to go down, I try to do some debunking, right? And oddly enough, one of the things that I did not find a lot of reports of in Oklahoma were bears, right? I don't know why that. I don't know. There's not a lot of trees in Oklahoma, I think, man. I think that they have wooded areas or something, I think, but like I think big parts of Oklahoma is like, again, correct me if you're wrong in the comments, is like open space, right? Like open fields, right? I think there's
plains and things like
plains.
that.
Thank you. Plains is a good word for it. Yesterday, someone sent me a video of a grizzly bear just turning a wild boar into a pork chop, right? And it was horrible, right? And I'm like, please don't send me this crap again, right? Like I'm well aware of the killing machine that a grizzly bear is happening, right? Like I said, bears don't kill you; they'll just start eating you, right? And so this pig was not; he was just making this god awful thing or whatever. So yeah, and so if a bear can get its hands on a deer when it's hungry enough, it will just start eating the deer. It will slap it, hold it down, and just eat it, right? So I thought to myself when I heard that story, okay, maybe a bear, and a bear won't finish his food. He'll just eat till it's not hungry, and it'll just leave, right? And then the rest of the forest and the possums, bears are stupid, man. They really are. I mean, they're 100% killing machines, right? But they are strictly instinct driven, man. So yeah, during the story, I felt that he was implied that the dog man left that half deer cut in half or whatever. That's what I felt, right? Did you feel the same?
That's what I feel. Yeah, I think that's kind of what it was kind of implying. Like he said, it wasn't like the deer was eating. It's not like it was a carcass and the stomach was eaten out. He said it was the front half, like the head, the neck, front arms, and a bit of the torso, and that was it. Like as if it had been ripped in half. Yeah. And left,
So yeah. All right. Okay, Steve. So well, we'll make our way back to that story in a second. You know how we do around here. You know how we do around here, bro. Anything else to add to these stories, Steve, so we can get into them?
No, I think that covers it. That's what I saw.
All right.
Oh.
Anyway, so look, all right, Steve. So let's dig into this. 1972, Lawton, Oklahoma. Steve, man sees the werewolf Scooby-Doo villain outside of his house, has a heart attack. You believe in that or not believe in that?
Just that one particular incident, or the entire weekend?
Just that one. I'm doing this a little bit different, man, because this was really like a conglomeration of like several reported sightings, right? So.
Yeah. Well, you know me.
I know.
You know how I am.
Yep.
I will say that this guy definitely saw something.
Yeah.
Right. He saw something that was. It wasn't a bear. It wasn't a dog.
No.
It wasn't a wolf. It was something. Again, if it scared him enough to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
It was definitely something a little bit more than what you would expect to see out there. So I give him that. What was it? A hobo wolf man in tattered clothes? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's possible. I'm not going to say no.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's pretty good coming from you, bro. Like not saying no from Steve I'll take that as a win, dude.
But if I won't get it ahead of myself, I'll say part of what influences that, me not just saying no off the bat, is the fact that there were so many reports over the weekend, right? It wasn't a one-off. Like the other guy who peed himself, I'm going to say no to that.
Yeah.
But the fact that this was a whole multi-report in the news, government deployed incident, that gives me more credibility to the story.
Yeah. So again,
I hope I didn't get ahead of you there, but
no. So the reason why I went with that one is because that gentleman's name, man, Donald Child, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is the only one that gave his whole name, address, whole story, whole descriptions. The rest of them, you go and look at any of the police reports. The guy with the balcony, they give the officer's name, Officer Harry Azel, but he would not put his name forward, right, for the story, right? And it was also reported that now when I say the story, obviously the police have his name. This was to the press, right? Like that got put into the press. The only one who gave his entire name, story, address, everything was Donald Child, right? The first one who saw it, right? So that's why I was like, do you believe him, right? Like he was completely upfront, nothing to hide, right? Again, like we can talk about the guy, the balcony jumping her. Again, man, that's a one-off, but he won't tell you his name. He didn't say, hey, I'm here. Yeah. So he has nothing to lose reputation-wise, right? And again, the town was so small, and like so many people were seeing it, right? That what you got to lose. So again, we're dealing with something that happened in '72, bro. You know what I'm saying? In a small town in Lawton. So that's why I said Donald Child to come in, and so that's I actually do believe it, right? And I at the same reasons that you said that you believe it, I actually believe it as well, because we always on the channel our hard deck is that you have to agree he saw something, right? You're just not going to have a heart attack at 38 years old, right? And then refuse to leave the hospital, in terror, not wanting to be alone, right?
Yeah.
Something scared him to death almost, man. Like something scared this guy, man, in a bad way. And again, I don't know why I can't say that without grinning, man. I'm a bad person, I guess. Something scared this guy to the point where he had to go to the hospital, man, and that's horrible. So you got to say, and again, he didn't hide. This is who I am. This is where I live. This is what I saw, right? So I'm more inclined to believe that he saw something, right? And then when I take the larger picture of what was reported, that he saw some, and again, the lack of the closest thing that I could find was maybe a bear standing up, right? But again, the blue jeans throw me off. Like that just throws me off, right?
Yep.
But again, I can't find that many. I can't find like bear terror stories in Oklahoma. I just can't find them, right? Like so. Yeah. So anyway, so yeah. I believe it. I believe that story, man. And so real quick, let's just, the thing jumping off the balcony, yes or no?
He saw something, I think. This guy, again, I don't think, since from what I saw too, is that this report came in fairly recently after, the same evening as Donald's. So I don't think at that point Donald's story would have really spread through the town for him to then make something up.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I think he legitimately saw something as well.
You actually just talked me into believing it. I was going to say 50-50, but then that's the point you just made. I'm like, okay, you know what? He probably did see something, man, because there wasn't enough time for this story. I mean, Donald Child was literally being treated at the hospital at the same time this report was going through.
Yeah.
So literally he was in the ICU. That's a good point, man. I tell you what, boy, you make me look good, man. That's why I keep you around, man. You see things.
Mm-hmm.
I miss. Huh? See what I did there?
That's right.
I made fun of your eye.
I caught that. Yes.
Yeah, you see things that I miss. All right, so yeah, cool. And I 100% believe the military people, and 100% believe the military response, right? Mm-hmm. And so, 2 more questions for you.
Let's hear.
You buying old boy's hunter blind story?
No, I mean, maybe he did see something big and scary out there, but it's literally anyone could have just said, "Oh yeah, I saw this thing out here. Yeah, it was terrifying."
Bruh.
There's no backup. There's no other witness. It's just him. And again, if he did say something, I'm not going to discredit him. I'm not going to straight up tell him no. But do I believe it? Yeah, I think it just makes for a good story, keeping the local, legends going.
I'll tell you, Steve, it didn't happen. I'll tell you what. This is my opinion on this. It didn't happen on this. There's not enough detail. There's not enough detail. If you were that right there, that we talk about this all the time, man. The most dangerous thing in the woods are people. 9 out of 10 times, man, people will be the problem, right? You run into a Bigfoot, unless you're in where, we'll say dog man. You run into a dog man out in the woods, man. You just hit the terror lottery, right? And if something was that traumatic on you, right? You would remember the most important detail wouldn't be you peed yourself. I'm telling you that right now. There would be something that he does. Look, man. And again, I'm not trying. If this guy is still alive, I'm not trying to, have beef, man. Whatever. I mean, I don't care if we beef, but I'm not trying to. Steve knows what I'm talking about. So look, he didn't describe the eyes. He didn't really. 8 feet tall. That's I've only heard of 3 or 4 dogmen being that big. They're normally 6'1", 6'2", 6 foot, right? The average dogman height. Even the werewolf was 6 feet tall, right? It's the average height, man. An 8'1". Okay. Again, whatever. But again, man, it turned back and it smirked at me. I mean, like, what smirked at you? Like, I mean, like it knew I was there. Well, it could probably smell you. If you pissed yourself, it probably smelled you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's probably how he knows you're there, right? And to me, man, too, it's just the generic. I mean, it's probably, now that I'm saying it, it's probably 100% accurate, man. But to me, it's just a generic tale, man. And there's no source material on it, man. It was a man who doesn't want to use his real name because his name is Clark, or he's going to go by the pseudonym or anonymous Clark or whatever, right? So yeah, bro, I'm thinking that, nah, man, not really. That one doesn't have a lot of stroke on it to me or whatever. So,
this might be the first time I heard you actually shoot down a story on this show.
I did, man. That's how bad it is.
That is so funny.
I'm easy to convince, man, and you failed, bro. I'm saying like you failed, bro. Like I'm easy to convince. But no, that's just the feel. That's just the instinct I had on it, man. Like again, you can't name the county.
Mm-hmm.
A neighboring county of Comanche. There's 5 of them, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, right? In a deer stand. There's probably 400 deer stands within that area, right? In a field, right? So I guess there's way too much vagueness, you know, and generality to it. Another thing too that I don't that gives me pause is you waited 15 minutes in the deer stand. Right. So I mean, it was technically called a deer blind. You're hidden, right? So you waited 15 minutes, and you just hear me out. All right. So if that wall behind me is the deer blind, right, and that camera in front of me is where the dog man left, right? And you're telling me that that's the way you walked in. So you walked across the field to get into your deer blind. That's what you tell me. When you could have easily, if you don't know anything about hunting, you could have put the deer blind at the camera and you still have the same angle of the field. It's still there, right? So like you crossed the field to set it up over here. Sure, maybe possible, or it could have been over here or whatever. But you waited 15 minutes. And it scared you so bad that you urinated on yourself, but you still waited 15 minutes to leave, and you went down the you know, the same path that it was on that you had to walk through. I'm just saying a lot of you know, things have to line up. Anyways, whatever. I'm not buying it, Steven. I don't feel good about it. Understand?
I can see this. This has really got you worked up.
I don't feel good about it, man. I don't feel good about it. But you know what? I gotta call it how I see it, man. And like I said, brush that story up, man, and then try again next year. Anyways, one last question before we walk out here. Could this possibly have been, based on what we know now, could this possibly have been a military experiment that was going on that Fort Siles or whatever it is? Could that possibly have been the cause of this thing going on? And could that possibly have been the reason for the military armed response and the massive police presence and the hush up, it just going away type of situation, right? Based on what we know now about the super soldier program and how, you know, the reports that came out at the end of World War II and Joe Barger's story about, you know, DHS growing these bad boys, could this have been an early version? And again, if you wanted to do something like this, BFE Oklahoma would be a freaking perfect place to freaking start it, man. So what do you think, now?
Well, you know, I got a question. If this were happening here on this base, do you think, and I'm asking legitimately because I have no idea, is this something that everyone on the base would know about?
No shot. So
I was going to say the soldiers who saw it, those 15 soldiers, clearly had no idea about it because they were terrified of it. So I was going to say, if they knew about it, then that wouldn't really make sense. But if it's happening in the base top secret,
so
that's possible.
I did a year on Diego Garcia, and outside of my little area that I was in, and Diego Garcia, like I said, it's not an island, man. It's an atoll. It's the rim of an extinct volcano. It is the tertiary. It used to be the 3rd longest runway on the planet. It was the tertiary landing site for the space shuttle. But I only ever went to that airport 3 times. When I landed and when my buddy left, I rode up there with. There's no cars on Diego Garcia except for the police. You have bicycles, right? I mean, we have vehicles. Don't get me wrong. You know, there's trucks and vans and stuff like that, but they're service vehicles. And when I left, I went to that airport, right? There's so much underground crap on Diego Garcia, man. And like, I worked at, I got to be careful what I say here, man. Like, the area that I worked in, unless you were going there, you would not go there. No one was allowed to go there. And it wasn't, and there were other areas on that. And this place was not even 3 miles, bro. At its widest point, I think Diego's 3 miles wide, right? I mean, there's long stretches, but at the widest point, man, there's places on there I did, and there's nothing to do there at the time, man, except, you know, work out, you know, work, swim, snorkel, fish. I mean, I guess there is a lot to do there, but like I said, there's a lot of stuff to do there. But I there was plenty of sites on there that I did not go, that I would just not walk onto. And their flights came in and out of that place all the time that I had no idea.
Yeah.
What was going on.
So there's a lot going on that people are not privy to.
There's no, exactly, man. And so there was also, I got, like I said, I just got to be careful what I, not, this ain't some flex or whatever. I just, when you get a top secret, or TSSCI clearance, man, you have to sign these waivers saying you'll never make a movie or write a book about, something. So I don't want, I'm just saying that, no, to answer your question, bro, it would not be, it would be extremely rare for, it's not even rare. It just doesn't happen, bro. It does not happen. Military bases, things go on military bases, unless you're involved in that military base. Here's a perfect example. Unless you're involved in that, you would not know what's going on. For example, I think Fort Bragg, North Carolina is where the Delta Force team is, right? The unit is at, right? There's actually, I think there's, last count I knew, there was 4, A company, B company, C company, and Delta company, right? If you're not Delta or involved in that, you don't go there. You got no idea what they're doing. You don't have nothing what's going on. You don't go there. So yeah, if they were doing something on this level, there was, you would not know what on. And a perfect example is the Marines that guarded our facility. They had no idea what we were doing inside. None. And they had no idea, right? Because they just could not allowed in there, right? So anyway, so yeah, it's possible, bro, but like that they might have been doing some weird, dogman experiments there, and those guys just didn't know it. And again, 15 guys saw it, so it was near the base, or it was on the base at some point.
Yeah.
Right? So
and then, like you said, all of a sudden, it goes.
And then it's just gone, right? Yeah, it's just gone. Right?
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, Steve. Oklahoma has not failed to impress, bro. For real. This is definitely going to get on my list of things to do, to get out there. I'm gonna have to make it. I'm gonna have to make it a trip, man, where I can get to these counties, bro. Like I want to go to Lawton, man. I want to go. I want to go to Lawton. I want to go to LaFleur County. I want to. It can't be that hard to find the Humphrey residence, right? I can't be that hard to find, right?
Can't imagine.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I mean, like you just have to ask around there, like, hey, where's this at or whatever.
Yeah,
and we'll go with it. All right, Steve. Another one in the books, brother.
That's right.
Got anything more to add to this?
No, I don't think so. I think like you're just saying, learning a lot more about this quiet little state than I ever thought I would ever know, and it's information that I certainly never expected. So,
and you know what? I hate to say this, man. I am dumbfounded by Oklahoma. I have seriously failed to properly assess the value of the fiduciary that goes on in Oklahoma. So, well, anyways, nerds, if you stuck around this long, you're our what?
Our kind of losers.
Do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know what you think about this story in the comments. Let us know what you think about Oklahoma in general. I couldn't find a lot of bear stories down there. And let us know in the comments who wore their eye patch better, me or him, right? Right? GQ. Who looks more like Nick Fury? And also, Enigmites, if you could do us a favor, hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And we're trying to get Steve a new eyeball, right? Even though I haven't even turned on monetization. Someday I maybe will. Someday I won't. Who knows? I don't like commercials. So smash the subscribe button to get Steve a new eyeball. So anyways.
That's right.
Got anything, brother? Anything else?
That'll do it.
All right, nerds. That's all you get for $1. And we're out.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.